You're watching the Coyote Man Show Relationships. Dog plus my head where it's better to be loved than to get your head busted. Hosted by Ramsey Amadei, Uncle Shelton, and the Coyote Man on the Coyote Man Show Network.
Welcome. Yes, we are back in the house. I'm the Coyote Man. This is my host, Ramsey Amadei, and my other host, Uncle Sheldon.
Evening.
And the Bust Your Head crew. Now, Bust Your Head crew, number one, on the engineer side.
What up, Jay? Beyond Wise.
Okay. And we got my man.
What's up, y'all? Say cool to Madman. Peace.
And we got our lady, but we've been missing. She's been on vacation and all types of stuff.
Hey, it's the tax lady Lynette.
And we got the Soul Snatcher, Queen Jackie. Glad to have you with us. Listen, y'all, we're gonna be talking about the monogamy and polygamy. You know, we're gonna be talking about the great lie. You know, we're gonna be talking about, how we used to live before and, why we living this way now. And then we're gonna look at some things spiritually on what they said about Solomon, because sometimes they use certain parts in the book to say, well, you shouldn't do this or you shouldn't do that. Well, we're gonna find out if some of that is true. So we're gonna go deep into all of this. But first, we wanna look at it from a scientific point of view. So we're gonna play something from a scientific point of view, so that we'll be all on the same accord. And JB, we all got earphones, so we can all hear. You don't have to do the speaker thing. Right. Here we go. Let me see if I can find it. Here we go. So JB, you can put on the Bluetooth, and we're gonna listen to this real quick.
Sex is designed for one main purpose, procreation. The female reproductive cycle comes around once a month. For a man, it's every day. For each sexual act, the woman's one egg is matched by the man's 120 million sperm cells. Now let's do some calculation. 120 million sperm cells a day, as opposed to one egg a month every month, means that it will take only 30 men to impregnate all the women in the world. This points to one clear fact. A man is, by nature, polygamous. Monogamy and fidelity are unnatural situations promulgated by religious beliefs and social pressures. It's a known fact that women, for the most part, are more emotional than men. But because a man is visual and logical in nature, for him, it's just a physical release that's got nothing to do with love. A man loves his woman by protecting and providing for her.
You heard that. He said, she said a man loves his woman by protecting and providing for her. How does a lion love his lioness? From protecting and providing for her. And when we was discussing during the kingdom, when we was talking about love, we said love is service and maintenance. That the emotional side of it, that electric motion that's what it is, the emotion. That emotion can make you love, that emotion can make you hate. But when you look at it from what she just said, he was like, when man look at sex, he's not even looking at it that way. It's a release, because his mind is more based in logic. Her mind is more based in emotion. The problem is that the reason why we get this confused is because most of the time women expect men to think like women, and men expect women to think like men. We're not the same, So that's the reason why the lie has been out here for so long. It's because we're just not the same. Now, think about what she said scientifically. When she said a man get 120 million sperm cells a day.
Wow.
A woman gets one egg a month.
Yeah.
Now, you could say a man was monogamous if a man got one sperm cell a month around the same time that a woman gets a egg.
One egg, yeah.
Because God don't make mistakes, right? So most of the time you see nature add up. You know, if this happens, there's a reason why this happens, right? So if a man got one sperm cell at the same time that the woman got that egg and they could only procreate at that time, a man is monogamous. But if a man get 120 million sperm cells every day, and a woman gets one egg per month, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure this thing out. We're not talking about what you want to do. That's not what this conversation is about. We're not even talking about what we're going to do. We just got to dispel the myth. You know, regardless of what you do, dispel a myth, because the fact is you got people lying every day because they got to cover up this lie. And this lie is fixing it so that people can't be honest with each other, so it's keeping us separated, right? And before we even get into Kings, Jackie, you had did some research of your own.
I did some research based on the Old Testament and the New Testament. So the Old Testament promoted polygamy as a way of protecting the women, for the simple fact that there wasn't enough men at the time for a woman to have a husband. And at that time, women weren't able to support themselves. Mm-hmm. So that's why they decided to, I guess, have a polygamous society, in a sense, as a form of protection and providing. However, as time, the world became more populated at that time, the New Testament then promoted more monogamous relationships as God intended. So I think it's interesting because even thinking about the world that we live in now, when we look at our society, mentally, most of us aren't able to live a polygamous lifestyle because our head isn't right. So my question is to the men, how do you change that?
Well, one, let's go back, because we're not really able to live a monogamous lifestyle because our minds ain't right. Right. So, and let's go back. God always said be fruitful and multiply. Satan always said population control. It was never a point of history where God stopped saying be fruitful and multiply. And it was never a point in history where Satan kept not saying, let's kill him. It was never a point in time where God didn't want you to have children. And it was never a point in time that Satan did not want you to execute children. See, Jesus, we can't act like God had Alzheimer's in the Old Testament. And when he got to the New Testament, he came up with something new, right? He knew both, if we believe in the same exact God. So when people start saying that Jesus changed things, let's hear what Jesus said. Matthew the 5th chapter. He said, think not that I come to do away with the law of Moses. I come to fulfill it. So most Christians take that and say, well, he fulfilled it on the cross. But the next sentence say, until the heaven and earth disappear, I won't remove one dot from the law of Moses. And now we ain't gonna get into food today, but I just want to let you know, a lot of Christians believe that they could bless the food clean. But every food that God told you not to eat in the Old Testament makes us sick now.
Yeah.
So either we got a misunderstanding,
That could very well be.
because every food he told you not to eat. So my view is that God didn't catch Alzheimer's.
So, but wait, let's talk about that, because now it says, the Bible says that God's original intention was for one man to be married to only one woman.
Whoa, freeze.
That was the original intention, according to, if we're going by what's in the Bible.
Okay, then let's check this out. I'm glad we played that tape at first. Because when God has an original plan, the science adds up to it. Look at the animal kingdom. If God has an original plan everything equals out. The way the monkeys relate to each other sexually, the way the lions relate to each other sexually, the way the fish, everything was made a certain way. You was even given certain teeth to eating certain type of food, because when God has a plan, everything. Now let's look back over at this thing now. He gave a woman one egg for one time in a month. He gave a man 120 million sperm cells per day. I don't think you heard.
No, I heard you.
So,
and even taking that as an example.
Okay.
You want to chime in?
Go ahead. What you want to say?
Okay. So even using that as an example, shouldn't the world be, I guess, a bit more heavily populated if that's the case?
According I ain't gonna say that. According to Mr. Gates, it is too populated. That's why he's trying to kill. In China, you can only have one baby, right? They say the world is overpopulated. So
that's why it's a communist country.
So the merchant of death is trying every way to kill you, while God still says, "Be fruitful and multiply." He never changes his law. He is pro-life. Somebody else is pro-death. So if one is pro-life, and I'm not talking about Republicans, Democrats,
right,
but if one wants you to have more babies, wants you to have more life, wants you to be happy, somebody else wants you to be miserable, wants you to have less babies, wants you to die. One wants you to take the herb of the tree, the vegetation. Another person wants you to take the medicine. That somebody's trying to take you out. One wants you to have a whole bunch of babies, and he knows that I can't send these babies through one woman, because when a woman just has one baby, she's risking her life. Be fruitful and multiply. So, God, did you make a mistake by giving a man 120 million sperm cells per day? Was that just something for him to have extra? Just in case she some kind of way mutates into another being? Or did you create this thing right? Now, this is what history shows. History shows the women have made the biggest contribution in society, because it has been one man with like 10 women. And they have actually impregnated these women, and that's a historical fact. Nobody can go against that, right? But if you look at it from a scientific level, it don't make sense. It's not even healthy for a woman to try to be fruitful and multiply herself. You know, it don't make sense. Now, God, if he intended it, then a man would have one sperm cell, or even if it wasn't one sperm cell, let's give a man 1,000 sperm cells, right? Let's give him 1,000. Forget about the 120 million. Let's give him 1,000. If it was God's intention, then he would give him that 1,000 at the same time of the month that the woman had her one egg. Then I could buy it.
So let's talk about the economical factor in this.
Okay.
With your, with nature, as you stated, right?
Yeah.
It is not, no, let me take that back. If we're talking economics in today's world,
okay,
men producing all of these babies, they'd have to be financially able to support them, or it's a moot point.
Well, you got to look at it. It depends on how you look at it, right? Because polygamy, the way it was practiced in some cases, you had more resources. So let's say I wanted to open up a restaurant. I got the money to open up the restaurant. I might even got the money to buy the tables. What I don't have the money for is to pay my employees. But I got 3 wives, and we got 5 children. our children immediately hit the business.
Right.
Boom. Hey, listen, we just gonna take an L until we get this business where we need to get, and that's how we used to raise up a tribe. So if I was to take you into slavery, I would have to make you practice monogamy, because how am I going to keep you a slave? If I was going to release you from slavery, but I want you to stay the lowest person on the toast bowl, I need to promote monogamy, because I know that if you got that grant, not only could you buy the building, not only could you get the stoves, your family going to work there until you get where you need to go.
Right.
So economics, more people. Even though it seems like it would take more money to take care of these wives, but you got to remember, the wife now is the secretary. She's now the cook. She's now the children are this and this and this. This is labor.
Provided they have a solid plan in place.
Yep. You can't have polygamy without a solid plan in place. It's not polyandry. It's not an orgy. You know, it's a business.
Well, we talked about the polyandry side of things the other day, and I said that the women that practice that, especially in China, they marry brothers.
Yep.
Yeah. So, but still, they're the slave in that society to the brothers.
And you know why? Because the man was made to be the leader.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't have, and like Ramsey said earlier to me, he said that's because China, you can only have one baby.
Yeah.
But just think about that. You can't have even us in a house with just one woman. You know, you talking about what? You know what I'm saying? It's like it's I don't even. It's not even for this show. I couldn't even say it. You would be slaughtered. You know what I'm saying? You're talking about men like we being civilized now, but just the thoughts that would cross our brain for a couple of seconds. A woman ain't built for that. You know, she's not made for that. You know, and biologically she wasn't made for that. She can only have once a month. So what we gonna do if we all want a kid, which it don't supposed to be like that anyway, right? What we gonna do? We all gangbanging during that time until you freaking dead.
Unless one of the brothers are shooting blanks. I mean, it's
you got to go to the extremity, you know. But in reality, when we start looking at this thing, see, when you start pinpointing this thing, right? This ain't about what we feel. We're not even talking about today what we want to do.
Right.
We're talking about actual facts. If you was a lawyer in a courtroom and somebody told you if you never got any other information before, and you was trying to figure out whether a man is naturally, whether he do it or not, because you can be naturally anything and choose to do whatever you want to do, you know, but whether he's naturally polygamous or monogamous, and you weigh the facts of that he get 120 million sperm cells per day that is fully loaded and not shooting blanks. Matter of fact, if 2,000 of them is shooting blanks, it makes no difference. Can I raise the ante? If 10,000 of them was shooting blanks, it would still make no difference. If 20,000, you see what I'm saying? Now she only has one egg that can come once a month. Now the God that we know, just judging by the things that you already know been created, most of the time, he got this thing so good, we be wondering, how you get that good? Like when you look at the tree life, the plant life, the animals, how they all coincide, how they mate, everything perfect. So he just failed with us. He just gave us 120. Hey, look, I'm just gonna give you 120. You know what I'm saying? You do what you want to do with it. You know what I'm saying? I'm giving her one egg. This thing might seem a little crazy. That ain't God. So what did I tell y'all at the beginning of all of these shows? People lie, but nature don't.
Yeah.
On Facebook, they try to make me think that I can go and pet a lion. They put videos on Facebook that says that I'm going to teach you what to do if you get attacked by a lion.
You better make peace with Jamaica.
Okay.
I'm telling you, I don't believe Facebook. They tell me to stir at the line, right?
So you
First
can
of
see
all,
dinner.
yeah. First of all, when I'm seeing this foolishness,
To see what side you want to eat first.
yeah, I seen how fast the lion can run.
Yeah.
I can't get away.
F running. See how fast they strike.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like wham. Like oh.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
But Facebook trying to make me think if you wanna survive being attacked by a lion, watch this video. Any video that's not telling me not to be near that line, I'm not feeling the video.
Feeling that.
But they tell us this crazy stuff. You know what I'm saying? If a shark attack you, punch him dead in the nose. now. Oh,
I did hear that one though.
Nah,
I
I heard that, but I also saw it. But here's the thing with that. When it happened to the dude, it wasn't like, oh, strategically. It was like, oh, get the thing off of me. It happened to punch him in the nose.
And then he moved
like,
out of the way.
And he moved.
Now,
but on a normal instinct, you ain't thinking about
You ain't thinking about
you're
not thinking about that.
I can see myself watching that video and saying to myself, I'm gonna try to punch this shark in the nose.
Where you left arm at, Coyote?
That's all I know.
Get your finger bit off.
Right, finger.
Get your finger
Call
bit. We already seen that happen.
Nubby, what's up, Nubs?
But
Exactly.
people are telling us this stuff, right? That don't make no sense. And it gotta be to a certain point that we bring things to the table to try to figure out, okay, like if a man tell me, okay, I'm fine with one woman, I only have to ask him a couple of questions to find out why. That don't mean what he's saying is not true. And that still don't mean that men are naturally polygamous, right? It just means that it's certain circumstances in his life that shapes that, right? It's certain things, it's certain health, it's certain, he might just have a job that he comes to work, he goes back home, his life suggests certain things, right? A woman might go out her nature. She might go messing with Tony, Paul, and Jake. That's not in her nature.
True.
You know, she went against her nature because she is naturally made to be with one person. Not because I said so. She was only given one egg. And one, you see what I mean? Yeah. So unless we talking about something funky, you know, we not talking about building a kingdom. So
it's believed that God created polygamy to solve a problem.
Well,
and so now we are, I guess, beyond that problem. So if you go back to the New Testament, according to this, if polygamy was allowable, the entire illustration of Christ's relationship with his body, the church, and the husband-wife relationship falls apart.
Well, no, because the husband and wife relationship came with another group of people. The way it was like that. We was always, it just wasn't spoken of like that. Your first wife was spoken of, and you had others. You can look through the Bible and stuff that they tried to hid, the books they snatched.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? They were still married to more than one wife, right? History shows they were still married to more than one wife, right? It was a certain time where monogamy came in, and it was not by God, right? Because see, this, remember I said, people lie but nature don't?
Right.
If it was by God, you would have one sperm cell. Let me give you 1,000. You will have 1,000 sperm cells that came along at a certain time. See, God ain't making all these mistakes, you know? So it's like, just think about anything in life. Anything in life, if the bees function a certain way, they got just enough of this to do just enough of this. The ants got just enough of this to do just, they don't got extra.
But I think those sperm cells serve more than just the purpose of making children, creating.
Yeah.
Because if you practice semen retention, it will boost your testosterone, so it gives you more work, give you a more powerful workout over time. And I think that, you know, it has served that purpose too as well.
Now, sir, holding your stuff inside of you, of course, because you letting your life outside of you, right? It's going to make you have some strength. But that's not the purpose of sperm. The purpose of sperm is to have children. It only had that purpose. Now, if we keep it inside of us, we're stronger. That's just like if the purpose of eating food is to eat it. But if I fast from it, I develop certain strengths from actually fasting from it. But the purpose of the food is the same.
But let me ask you this. Let's go back. Now, we was talking about the Bible. Let's go to the story of Samson.
Okay.
Now, he was strong, wrestled lions and everything like that. Mm-hmm. But at the end, he had to pull down that temple, and he was a slave, captured. And that whole time, he wasn't, sleeping around or anything like that. He was retaining his semen. Mm-hmm. That gave him that strength to pull that temple down. So that at that point, that was his purpose, to destroy, those evil doers that God had him to destroy. Mm-hmm. So, like I said, I think depending on your purpose, that's what, your purpose is. And your semen can be used towards that. Well, and it might be used to populate the earth. It might be used to drive urban, civilization in another direction.
Well, that's not just your semen that would allow you to pull down something like that. That's your chi.
Does that add to your chi?
Now, your sperm, right? You can have sperm out of you and still have your chi. Mm-hmm. You can still summon your chi. So your sperm was put inside of you for the purpose of a child. If you keep this sperm inside of you, of course you ain't released. You're gonna be stronger. Food was put inside of you for the purpose of feeding this body. If you abstain from that food, you will become physically stronger, but you will become mentally stronger, but you will become physically weaker, because the food has its purpose. Your actual abstaining from it develops another part of you, develops another spiritual strength. So the sperm purpose is to have a child, ain't no doubt about it. But if you keep it in you and you go to the gym, the same energy that you could use to have that child, you use it on the bar. But the purpose wasn't the weights, because you can get that same chi from just summoning the energy in the universe. You can get that. That's chi. That's not really your energy. That's the energy that you summoning from all around you. So I'm not saying that Samson didn't have some extra strength, because he kept that inside of him the same way somebody might have ate certain types of food that made them more vicious because they ate meat that ate meat. Like, all of this is science, but that wasn't the purpose of the meat, right? So you can use things out of its purpose, right? Sperm, the purpose of sperm was to mix with an egg and to have a child. That was the purpose. Let me ask you
this. Why would they tell boxers no women the night before the fight?
Because it makes you weaker. But I can tell you this.
I need to win that championship belt, so I need to,
I'm gonna tell you like this. But it has some other things too. I was watching Spartacus one time, and the lady said, "Well, I don't want to have sex with you before this, because it says sometimes it can make a man weak." But he said, "But sometimes the right woman, it'll give a man hope." See, it really is here. It's here. And how I know it is here, because you could exhaust yourself and think that you don't have nothing in you. I mean, like, completely exhausted, and I'm trying to be as clean as possible. And you deal with the right woman that your brain tells you this, all this and all that, all of a sudden, all of that exhaustion is gone, and you are fully loaded again, because your brain will summons what it actually needs, and it will put it in production quicker than you could even think. And I know that for a fact, because it was some times where I thought, okay, man, I know I didn't plenty of times, but it was this certain person that struck a certain thing in my mind and a certain thing in my sight that make me produce stuff that I would not necessarily have. And I had strength that I would not necessarily have, but it was based on how my mind viewed this individual. So a lot of our stuff is caught up in here, because this is completely dominating. It's completely powerful. It's like what you believe is pretty much what you can actually do. Now, it has some physical elements, you know what I'm saying? But your brain can produce chemicals in your body just with the right thought. It will start reproducing all types of chemicals that you didn't even think. If somebody put the wrong thought in your brain will produce other chemicals in your body, and they can see it in the lab. You know what I'm saying? This guy then got sick. This didn't happen. He didn't lost his endorphins. He didn't lost this. He didn't lost that. Only with a thought.
Well, I kind of agree with that, but then I go back to this point time when I came down with COVID one time, right?
Okay.
And the fourth day after having all the symptoms started going away, and then my mind was like, you know what? I feel good. You know, I think I can go out here, do my thing, cut the grass. I took one pass with that lawnmower on the grass, and I was like, whoa. I was like, oh, no. I said, I don't know what my mind was thinking, but my body was like, no, boy, you better go later.
Well, you definitely had a war, right?
Yeah.
But anybody know you can go into the gym on some days. All right, I can put it like this. I done went into the gym on some days that I knew that I could not lift the weight that I was about to lift up.
Yeah.
But I WWE fooled myself. Yeah. I put in my brain that I was Batista. And I'm down there literally picturing my whole body as Batista. And I pushed that 210 like, voo, voo, voo. And the guy next to me was like, oh, all this. Because it darn sure wasn't this. Because I ain't even do it before. Right? You'd be surprised. Your brain is so powerful, right, that you could be a male and think that you're a female, and your body can start developing breasts. They have shown that a woman can think that she's pregnant and start developing a false baby. That's been proven.
Wow, proven. I saw that.
Yeah, that's been proven. Your brain is powerful.
So if a woman thinks she want to be a man, she can start developing an Adam's apple.
No, I'm not.
But she can.
Well, go ahead. Go ahead.
She can develop hard features. Yeah. You know, just like a man can develop soft features over time, and their testosterone levels can lower. Just like in society, that's what's going on, right? But I do want to add on. You know, like I said, now we're talking about the brain. Like sperm is connected to the brain. You know, cerebral spinal fluid, right? So it's all connected. So we got to also talk about the sperm producing a certain type of quality of children. Right. So it's also, you know, it's like everything that you do is the sperm is a liquid version of that, of your brain, your thoughts, your activity, your environment. All of that is included in that said sperm we talking about, right? So there's, you know, so it's something else connected to it, right? So it's not just, you know, all sperm ain't created equal.
Great point.
That's a shirt.
That we got going around here.
Yeah, that's true.
And
the same with women.
Right, and that's the same thing. So it's still a connection of a quality of that. That's part of the science of mating, right? When you're trying to breed dogs, for instance, you get certain types of you know. So it's the same thing we talking about, right? It's just not for anything, anybody and anybody. Hey, let me, you know what I mean? It's still something about a quality of that. But then even when we talk about that, what environment are we bringing these children into? Are we creating an environment, you know, for that seed to grow and develop in? Right? Because if we're not doing that, and if we're not focused on that, then what's the purpose? What are we uniting to do?
Right.
You know, because that's the purpose of this is to change our conditions, right? When you come together at a force like that, you know, it's to create some change, some effective change, right? So I say if we add all of that in, like even when we go back to the scriptures, right? We talking about people that was doing something.
Yeah, true.
They wasn't sitting and watching TV. You know what I'm saying? They was doing something. We talking about a nation. We talking about nations.
Yeah.
Not niggas.
That's right.
You know, we talking about kings and, you know what I mean, people with purpose, mission, laborers.
Right.
You know, intentions. You know, so all of that gotta be included You know, in the said structure, you know, and that's for whatever we say. That's even in a monogamous situation, you know, that still should be a part of that makeup. But even more so, you know, as we talk about that, it's like, you know, we get into you know, the work that also, you know, the purpose behind doing all of that.
No, that's so asking you some questions, Ramsey. On your studies, like even from a natural standpoint, how do you feel about what the lady said? Like from the science part of it, and as far as nature is concerned.
I mean, just like I said, we touched on it before, right? It's a quick way to go to it, right? If every man married every woman, there will be millions of women that won't have a man. Just off of that. Right, so you got to say, okay, let's even go into and then let's go back a loving God, right? A loving God, right? Who's gonna take care of these million women? With no, I mean, no home, no nothing. I mean, we can just leave it at that. Forget science and everything else. 2 million women, you know,
chilling,
right,
in rap videos.
But I do have. And you know what's so crazy about it? I'm gonna run it back to you. The same circumstance of not enough men still exists.
Right. What I said. 2 millions with no dick for life.
It's gonna be a war.
Yeah. What if you was amongst that number?
Yeah. It's gonna be a war.
How would you feel being amongst that number?
Yeah, it's gonna be a war.
So are we just talking about?
I'm
asking.
That's just based off of what he just said.
That's right. So just based off of that, okay. So fast forward.
do we all understand that?
I do understand
that's how much
that.
they outnumber us right now.
And I do understand that. You know, I thought that was pretty good. So fast forward into today's world, right? And factor it in. I guess
no, before you even go any further,
I can't with y'all.
You said move into today's world. He was using today's.
No, so but that's my point, right? No, I get that. So I guess the numbers are going to be different anyway, simply when you start to factor in homosexuality.
Not just that. You got to remember before you hear people say that. Oh, God had to take away men. People started using the science. Well, God had to have polygamy because so many men was dying from war. Not as many dying now. We dying more in Baltimore streets than they die in some countries. So the men are going at not just the men. We are aborting.
Yeah.
We are aborting them at a high ratio. Yeah. So the whole demographic is done. You know what I'm saying? It's
no. I'm about to say. Excuse me. I get where she going at too. Like as far as in today's context, as far as community, like even what I said, like what environment do we have?
Right.
What community? With you know that part still needs to be.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
But I get what you're saying on that. But like I said, just off numbers alone, that kind of. You know, if we look at it like that, it's like damn.
If every man married a woman, it would still be 2 million left.
Yeah.
Hey,
or more. Yeah.
Or more.
Who around the world?
And black women, we talking about around the world. We're not even talking about the black family.
Yeah.
How does those statistics look?
Crazy.
How? Cause black men incarcerated. What?
Yeah, incarcerated or dead. Incarcerated dead or went to the other side of the
And what did the book say? The book say they would turn on themselves. Because it wouldn't be enough men.
Right.
So they would turn on themselves. What's happening there?
Yeah. Vaccine.
Next witness.
I agree.
So,
I agree with everything CoyoteMan is saying. I understand your point of view, but now the way society has it is like, you know, we wasn't raised like that, but the science is showing everything. Is the facts is there, but the way our mindset are now, you know, you're like, well, wait a minute, this is not right, but you know, but I understand. I don't agree, but I do understand.
But and it's like everything, even when you say ain't right?
Right.
It's like
I was taught.
We've been taught to eat the wrong foods, sentence out families to death. You know, we've been taught everything wrong. We've been taught for the man to lie, the woman to accept that lie because she really know it's a darn gonna lie. It's like our whole society has been set up to lie from the one who taught us to lie. So it's like we're just pretty much just, not every individual, but we can't judge things off of Shelton, which is a beautiful man, right? But we can't judge things off of Amy. We have to judge things off of the masses of what's actually happening to our people. If you was to go by my circle of men, you know what I'm saying? They don't hit women. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of things they don't do. But my circle of men don't make up the men. You know? It's like they are a dot in a larger situation.
I mean, and even off of that, I think that puts it in context too, to say that it's not something for everybody, right? Yeah. But it is something that will have to be considered by a lot that probably think they don't have to consider. You know, just depending, just the way things may go. It just you never know what's coming, right? And us as a people, we don't know what's coming. You know. And we don't have enough resources amongst us, right? So let's say right now we're talking from a privileged position, right?
But it's a choice.
Right, let's just say the internet and all this is no more. There ain't no more of this, no more. You know what I'm saying? And you really got to worry about what's coming in your door. You know what I'm saying? You're going to want to, you're going to want to have a connection of people around you, and things may, then you might start rethinking the way you think things.
You will
think about survival and safety and things of that nature. Yeah. So if you put it in that context, it may have to be a consideration, but at the same time, just like I said, every man is not fit to handle that situation. Absolutely. And every woman is not going to be emotionally balanced to handle it, and it can create more chaos, right?
And that's what we were talking about. Going into a polygamous kingdom, right? You'd have to have a solid plan. There has to be steps in order to ensure that these people are mentally capable of living this lifestyle. Or otherwise, you're just going to create additional chaos.
Well, we would have to. Well, they already practicing polygamy irresponsibly.
Right. But
see, and when I say that is that we're not going into anything, right? We've been practicing this for. We've been practicing all kinds of stuff the whole time. But the thing is, we haven't been practicing it responsibly.
Right.
The only difference is it's no such thing as a girlfriend, side piece, in God's eyes. Right? It's either with your right hand possessed or it don't. So when you go and sleep with a woman and just be like, oh, peace, you going about your business, I got this girl over here. That's not polygamy. That's irresponsibleness. But that's how it frames in our mind, because we Americans, so it frames in our mind like that. But polygamy is responsibility. So it means that, oh no, I slept with her, she's mine. I gotta protect her.
That's the other context. Right. Like when you go back to scripture too, ain't no dating. Right,
there's no date.
That's true.
Ain't no casual, right. I mean, to that degree, where it's like, it's either, like you said, it's a concubine, it's a prostitute, your wife.
Yeah, if you're not a prostitute, if you ain't paid for it, and you lay with this woman, I now pronounce you man and wife.
Right. It ain't like you're going on Tinder and all this now, and you just got your black book and you So right, when you consider that, right, that's another thing, right? When you look at, like, if you put it in this context, no sex outside of that either, right? Like I said, and it sound fly, right?
Yeah.
It sound fly. Yeah, that one dude, that's who you gonna be with forever, right? You know what I'm saying? But it's like when we want to go back to biblical times, then it's like you changing everything you doing right now anyway. If you living by these standards, you're not doing what you doing right now. At this point, you know what I'm saying? So that's another thing in context too, and I think,
I think that the guy that has to be strong, intellectual, because you're dealing with two females or more. You know, it's different emotions. And then what about the sex drive? You might have two women with high sex drive that somebody's going to fall short. What you do in that situation? You know what I'm saying?
That was one of my concerns too. That was definitely a concern, because if I think of somebody like me, right, and being in a polygamous relationship, let's say with 3 other women, somebody is definitely going to be shortchanged. Now, for a woman like me, it's like, you're going to have to give me more than 1 day a week if we're assigned different days. You know what I'm saying? In terms of sex. Now, I'm not saying that it always has to be physical, but with me and you're servicing 3 other women, I'm not going to be as spiritually or mentally connected to you. And let me finish. The reason I say that is I'm going to shut down part of me, because now I'm sharing you with 3 other individuals. So I'm not going to be my sexually free self, because I now have to share you.
Okay. Now, a polygamist don't look at it like that. You don't look at it like that neither, because you probably had to share somebody that you didn't know you were sharing. But the thing is, you have shared them. So you have to tell your brain that I'm going to shut down and I'm going to do this, because that's the process that you're teaching yourself to deal with the unknown. Now, people that do understand this situation, they're not thinking about that foolishness. They thinking about, hey, listen, let's win. Only a monogamist sits around thinking about sex all the time.
But it's not just thinking about sex.
Let me finish. Let me get you to understand. They got stuff to do. Like when you're doing polygamy, you're building a king. If you was to go to research polygamy, they're building empires. They're not thinking about the person that has all that time to be like, I need it at least 2 times a day or 3 times a day. They got time, because these people like the Jay-Z's of the world, or the people who are movers and shakers, and you actually building the kingdom, you gonna get sex, but you are so driven by life, because life is just fulfilling you. See, we get so hypersexual because we're not doing what we're supposed to do. We're not building anything. We're not doing anything, right? So that's what makes us think that our relationship is based around sex. And then when we don't have sex no more, we figure we don't have the relationships. Now, I'm going to tell you physically, if you're dealing with a man that is building and making something happen, you would still be, hey, Coyote, chill, with 3 of you. And I know that for a fact.
But it's not just, I'm not just talking about the physical aspect of it.
I'm talking about the mental aspect.
Right, and that's the thing. Somebody is going to be shortchanged. I mean, it's human nature.
No.
So even when you're in a monogamous relationship, sometimes you get complacent and your partner might not be getting what they need from you. So now factor in 3 other people that, you know, I have to share you with. And yes, I get the concept of building a kingdom. But at some point, and I mean, again, it's human nature. At some point, somebody will be shortchanged. And it's not even just about the sex aspect of it. It's about us connecting and having a conversation. At some point, yeah, somebody will be short, because listen, you're out there making moves. There might be days where you come home and you don't feel like having a conversation. So again, I think it requires a certain type of balance, for one, and you have to go into it, I guess, with an open mind and knowing the reason that you would want to be a part of something like that. I'm saying for myself, and it's not even just looking at it from a monogamous standpoint, I know for me, and believe me, you and I talked about this a lot. So I've done my research. I like the economical aspect of it and building something, creating a legacy. I love that, right? But if I'm thinking the person that I am now, it's not something that I could see myself in, and that's me being honest.
No, that's
yeah.
You wouldn't expect for somebody that has been in America, right, and has been under this type of thought pattern to see that, right? But when you look at it from not that standpoint, and you look at it from people that's actually involved in it and doing well in it, they're not they ask them questions like, well, how do y'all find the time to do stuff that women said? You think we walk around thinking about having sex all the time? That's why y'all poor. That's why y'all work for people. You know what I'm saying? We don't work for people because of the fact is we're thinking about building the kingdom and we are satisfied. Why? Because they set up a system to be satisfied. They're not like sitting around. She said, I get my time, she get her time. But the main thing, our children are set. So it's like we're enjoying life. She said, you find when you got all that time to do all this and do that, you're not doing anything. And you're miserable even in your monogamy. See, whether it's monogamy or polygamy, it's the same. The same thing you can say about polygamy is the same thing you can say about monogamy. Yeah. The same issues you have with polygamy is the same issue you had with that dude that didn't spend no time with you, that was doing what he do. But then how about that dude, Superman dude? Superman dude is spending time with you, her, boom. Matter of fact, you spending time with your sister wife. It's like this whole thing is a whole different, it's not even the same thought pattern. It's not, the only reason why we create thoughts above it because of what we've been used to, but what we've been used to ain't work. You know, what we've been used to ain't real. And I'm not saying that it cannot exist because that lifestyle has to even, all of the lifestyles, monogamy and polygamy, all of it has to be corrected. So if a person say, I want to live a monogamous life, you know what I'm saying? God intended the monogamous life like this. Or if a person said, now I'm not saying that it's against God's law to be monogamous. Right, I'm not saying that. Right. You know what I'm saying? If a person chooses, it was never a force that you had to have more than one wife. I'm just saying a man is naturally polygamous by the way that God actually created him. You know, and a woman is naturally monogamous by the way that God created her. But that don't stop a woman from sleeping around. You know what I'm saying? And that don't stop a man from saying, okay, I'm just going to deal with this one. That's a human choice. But that has nothing to do with what you was created to be. And the reason why what you was created to be is so important is because when we go into these relationships and we raise our sons, if we raise our son up not understanding this stuff, they wind up getting into all types of sexual practices and doing stuff they wouldn't have did if you just would have told them the reason why they feel like this. They're not a bad person. They feel like this because God said to be fruitful and multiply, but now we got some responsibility into this. So now I told this boy told me, he said, man, I can't control my urges. He said, and I told y'all this, he said, I can't control my urges. And I said, what's wrong? He said, man, I just like women. I said, well, you're polygamous by nature. He said, I am? I said, yeah, you was naturally made to have more than one wife. I said, but every woman you sleep with will be your wife. He said, what? I said, yeah, so you got responsibility. That scared the crap out of him. He said, you know what, I think I can control myself now. Right. You know, because he started realizing, you mean to tell me every woman, that scallywag that I was trying to sneak over to? Yeah, her. Yeah. Right? She your wife too. Oh, okay, I got you. No, say no more. Say no more. Say less, as they say it now, right? He controlled himself. He just needed the perspective. Right. He needed to know that he wasn't just low ball dog. Because his insides is saying procreate. Procreate, procreate, and somebody is telling him, you a dog, you bad to do this. So what's he gonna do? I'm gonna hide it. Now I'm gonna do all kinds of funky sex practices because I'm hiding it, but I feel like, so I'll just go ahead and do this. This ain't right neither. I just go ahead and do this. This ain't right neither. I'm a dog anyway, and I hide it. But when the truth is there, the truth will set you free, and you can make a legitimate decision. It's like when you talk to a man and the man say, hey dude, how would you like to have more than one wife? He goes, oh, God, you know, I ain't thinking about that. No. really, I want to have a conversation with you because I know you're polygamous by nature. He said, So, because now he like, I can have this conversation. You know? Oh, girl, go over here playing, stop playing. No, I'm serious. I understand this. Now he almost going to dip his, he going, let me see if
let me test the waters.
I mean, I thought about it once.
Yeah.
Oh, you did? Oh, you did? Yeah, because I know it's a part of your nature. Oh, let's have a real conversation. Now, the disguise then came on. You no longer dealing with his representative. And you saying, well, yeah, I thought about it. I know it's natural. It just make me feel a certain way because, you know, I was raised here. And even though it's probably not right, you know what I'm saying? You know, this is how I think. Now he gonna be open. Yeah. Oh, yeah, because you put him in this safe spot. He don't got to lie to you no more. Well, actually, you know what I'm saying? I'll be, you know, blah, 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 blah. Now you getting the real him. You the first time you didn't got introduced to your husband. And the first time, now he feel comfortable with you. You're closer with him now than he ever was closer to you because he thought he had to lie to you. Right. Now you understand something else about nature. It's called the ego. So you say, well, shoot. In your mind, you saying, well, listen, I'm not ready, you know, for him to take on wives. If a circumstance like Ramsey brought up, which could take place, right? It ain't gonna be all that thought. You know, you're gonna get it together very quickly. But it's like, you might say, I don't really want that. So you look into his nature, because people lie, but nature don't. What does a man cannot take? He cannot take looking bad. Yeah. So a man could be, like I told y'all before, he could be about to go out and sleep around on you. Hey, I'm going over Tony's house today. Oh, baby, go ahead. Yeah, I'm going over Tony's house. I'm gonna be, how long you gonna be out? Man, he wanted to watch this game, yo. It ain't gonna be over. We're gonna take a couple of drinks. We ain't gonna be back until about 1 o'clock. I'm like, oh, all right, everything cool. But come here for a minute, baby. You drain him real quick. Drain him again. Okay, catch you later. He might go out to his car. He coming back in. You know, Tony, he acting funny. You know what I'm saying? Tony ain't acting. I thought you was going over Tony. You can go. I don't want you to feel like I'm, you know, go ahead and go. Nah, you know. Babe, really, actually, I just want to stay in here with you. Why? Because people lie, nature don't. His nature says that he don't want to go out and misperform. You done took everything he had, right, and he all kooky cocky on you, yeah, and he ain't worrying about no fake Tony, right? Just nature, right? When you understand nature, you know how to manipulate it. The only reason why we was manipulated because somebody know how to. They understand nature.
Said Tony was fake.
I'm glad
it's the fake Tony.
The fake Tony. the fake Tony.
So let me ask the question. Okay. So you're dating, right?
Okay.
And then the dating aspect of things goes to the next level. When do you introduce that into a conversation? Like, okay, you know.
Polygamous?
Yes. When do you bring that up?
It depends on what position you in. Mm-hmm. Say, for example, if you in a brokedyke.com position, you're not really feeling good enough about yourself to say it. But if you are a man that is doing pretty well for himself, even if he's not financially doing well for himself, if he's spiritually doing well for himself, if he wants it, he'll tell you because he already know he can have it. Yeah. Right? He already know he can have it, and he knows some women that don't even, it's women out here that don't even want to live that life. You know, they want to live that life. I mean, it's a whole community. So they couldn't even picture themselves without a sister wife. Right. Right? And it's like, because they like the sister bond and all that type of stuff like that. And they like being able to share different things that
share responsibilities.
Share responsibilities. Yeah. Come on. Yeah. And that was a good way to put it. Share responsibilities. And this woman said, I was listening to one tape, she said, I'm getting older. She's getting older. Right. Now she likes sex, but not like him, because he's healthy. He's 50 years old, functioning like a 16-year-old if he's in good health, right? So she bring that 23-year-old. She be like, come on, Look, I seen her make a call. This lady said, "Hey, listen, I just closed this big deal, and our husband just closed this mega deal. I can't make it back in the country." Right. She said, "Cause he's doing stuff." You gotta remember. It was like, "I can't make it back in the country. Can you make sure that he knows that, you know what I'm saying, that I appreciate him?" And she said, "Oh, you know, I'm gonna take care of him." And that's just their husband. They talking to each other like that. Right. Right? And it's like, just imagine it. No, now think about the man's mind now. Now, he's scared to death to lose them. Right. He's scared to death to lose his first wife because his first wife is the one who actually allows this to even be. Yeah. So her value is so high to him that he's terrified to lose her. The average man is not terrified to lose his woman. True. Because even, let's forget polygamy. Let's go to monogamy, right? The average man, what would it take a monogamous woman to have value so high that a man was scared to lose her? She would have to be feminine. She would have to be like, almost like Sheldon's wife, right? That's why he's content. Because Florida, the first thing she did when she met my mom was she brought her flowers. She's fit, petite. She's talks feminine. I have never spoke to her. I'm sure he didn't hear her maybe get upset a couple of times, but when she has expressed herself to me, it's always been feminine. Okay. So her value is so high, right? You would be terrified to lose a woman like that. Yeah. But a woman coming out her mouth, and we just talk monogamy. Right. A woman coming out her mouth, bucking on you, you know, all types of, you ain't afraid to lose her. Yeah. And the only time you do get afraid to lose her is if y'all had y'all married in the world, in the United States courts, and you know it's cheaper to keep her and you don't want to lose that. Right. Now what does that create? That creates him developing a whole nother family over here, because this family is not real. Because the only reason why I'm in this family is because I don't want to lose half of my money. Exactly. So I got a whole family over here that you don't know about that love me for me. Right. You living it anyway. Yeah. You living it anyway. You living it. If you ain't know you was living it, show up to your husband's funeral. And so were his other children. You living it anyway. And I'm not saying everybody, but I'm saying in a majority type of level, we're living it anyway. And why are we living it? Because it ain't natural.
And because people aren't being honest when they're going into these relationships.
And I'm going to tell you something they said in the movies. You want the truth, but you can't handle the truth. Right.
But that's a great point. That's a great point. Yeah. It's definitely a great point.
You know, and the thing that's so crazy now is something that Ramsey brought up. It was kind of like, we're really talking from a privilege communication, but I'm gonna tell you what took place that y'all can look at real quick. The man, and I'm talking about the black community, the woman was put above the man. She was education and finances, right? Mm-hmm. So the way he look at her is not too good, and the way she look at him is not too good. Now, if you look just from a social media standpoint of the communications we having back and forth, they're not good. Yeah. Right? Then you take that and then you add it to a depression coming. Then they need room for their own people to work. Yeah. They come on the jobs. And the Spanish and Mexicans get the rest because they're going to work better than us. Mm-hmm. Of course. And then you get fired and sent back to that man that y'all been beefing. Mm-hmm. And don't respect you because you never respected him. Right. What's happening now?
Settling.
What's happening now? He might not even want you.
No, he don't, but it's settling.
Yeah. And you going to feel unwanted. So that's going to make you react. Absolutely. And maybe make you react sexually. Mm-hmm. So now we just lost. Y'all we just completely annihilated.
Yeah, and I know a couple of people like that.
So do I. Y'all roommates. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
And then I look at them like, why stay if you're unhappy?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, choose
And
you.
Chris.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What might happen? Do you see it? If you see it, you don't see it. Okay, if you don't see it, sometimes you gotta click over the other thing. I'll fix it. I'll help you. So that thought, Jackie, you can take it from your thoughts. I know you got something to say.
So I think when I think of the concept, right, I see a lot of benefits.
You can go like this.
The concept of polygamy.
No,
but I also think in our community, because we're not a community factoring today's world that has grown up in a polygamous society. So there has to be healthy conversations in order to educate so that somebody could decide if this is the right lifestyle for them in terms of building their empire. But if you don't know enough about it, you're not going to be able to make a great decision. And then even in terms of building a polygamous community, you have to think about the children, the benefit of the children, and everybody has to be balanced.
Yeah.
Or you're just going to birth a whole nation of chaos.
Yeah, like we did.
Like we do. Yeah, exactly. So these conversations are necessary in order to educate so that we can choose for ourselves if we want our community to win.
So let's look at the children, the benefit of the children, right? Okay. In order to see the benefit of something, you gotta see what's going on that we're not benefiting now, right? Now we see our children buck wild crazy. Would that be the same if we was tribal?
No.
Because no, right? Why?
Because tribal, it's one high priest or whatever that rules the tribe.
Right.
Then you have your foundation of the tribe, and the foundation has the nurturers, which are the mothers of the tribe, and they keep these kids taught and let them know their role as when they get older. Then once they get older, then they leave and go to the father, depending on if the child is a man or woman, but the women stay with the mother, but at a certain age the boy goes with the father or goes with the men of the tribe and learn how to grow up and be a man and understand their culture and their rules and rites of passage and stuff like that. So absolutely.
Because it's not one mother.
Right.
It's a community of mothers. Yeah. It's not one father. And what the father do, we just kill pedophilia. What happens is when a young man develops semen, we snatch his little tail away from his sisters, away from his girls' cousins, and we saying, you with us now. And if you touch them, we're going to kill you. So he grow up with that in his mind, and he has children, and he tells the kids the same thing. It just eliminates pedophilia.
Right.
Like, the only reason why we have it is because we don't talk to our children like that, and our children are completely perverted with everything on TV, so everything is different, But in that type of society with the tribe, the village is going to make an example out of you if you touch your sister.
Absolutely.
Or if you touch your cousin, because you got the whole tribe. Like people used to say, I didn't have to wait to get home. My neighbors.
That's how I grew up.
My neighbors would have corrected me before I even, got a certain place. So when you're thinking about something like that, if you was in a tribe, it creates that type of environment. So that's what happens with the children. The children are highly supported by the community.
Right.
We don't have no community. Not even our own houses. We colonized.
Yeah.
With the cell phone.
Colonized, every man for their self.
Yep.
Yeah. Right.
We are the most individualized group of people ever.
Yeah, we're so disconnected.
Yeah, we're gonna be like, hey, let's all hang together. Yeah. We're hanging together like, all right, then. Like, why we all together then? What's the point? Yeah. That's stupid. So yeah, like
that's touching these devices more than we're connecting to each other.
That's why we dumb, and this is why it's called a smart device, because this is learning us.
Now
we're not learning it.
In order for us to actually get together in a community, the only reason why sometimes we look at the Bible and the Quran is because we got to look at some of the stuff that actually got us separated anyway, right? and our understanding of this stuff, right? So we was talking about Solomon, right? Mm-hmm. And Solomon had 700 wives and 300 concubines. Mm-hmm. So when they perpetrate him, if you study, when they push him out there, they put it like his wives, right, is what made him fall. But if you really research it, you find out that it wasn't his wives that made him fall. No. It was that he chose foreign wives. Yes. Exactly. Yep. That did not practice the belief in God. Yep. So then God told him, do not marry those women. Yeah. And he was already married. Mm-hmm. You know, he was the king. He was ruling all over. But don't marry those women. Because those women right there is going to lead you away from me. Right. But the way they tried to perpetrate it was like, oh, his wives did this, right? No, his wives ain't do that. His disobedience to God, when God told him not to marry those women because they're foreigners and they believe in different gods. Because if that was the fact, then you would have to say Adam only had Eve, so they said. Yeah. And Eve, you know what I'm saying, told him something. And Adam disobeyed God, right? And this is one individual, right? But from my teachers, I was taught that even though that's fault with the women, it wasn't a woman's fault. Because Adam was in charge. Solomon was in charge. Even if you look at the record, like what Ramsey was saying sometimes, he said the women are not even held responsible in a lot of biblical terms. Those men was held responsible because that's who God was looking at. No, Solomon, I told you not to mess with those women. You got all these women, don't mess with those. Mess with the people in your spot. So he said that David, his father, you know, was had his favor, had God's favor, right? But David had 8 wives. So it had nothing to do with the wives. Right. Right? It had something to do with Solomon disobeying God. Mm-hmm. With all that wisdom he had, and he was still the wisest man to ever live. Still wise. But when it came to sometimes your ego, you know, absolutely. You powerful like that, you ruling all these nations. Yeah. You got 700 wives and 300 concubines. Now how this situation is going down, just remember that they going into people's lands and taking the booty of the war. Right? And they're prisoners, taking their prisoners out of prison. And that becomes concubines. So this type of stuff is actually taking place. Mm-hmm. So it's like, that's how it's actually taking place. You know, the wives is actually supposed to be like kingdom builders and stuff like that. They're kingdom builders. They don't have you. We got to understand too, even when we talk about time and wondering how our time would be shared. Yeah. Let's look at your time now. You know, like shoot, when me and Sonji start building this thing, we don't have no time. If we had time, y'all wouldn't see no lights on in here. We don't have no time. We ain't been on a vacation. Because we had to build this, right? It don't leave that type of time. And actually, if we had too much time, we'd be working for somebody. We got to think about this time we talking about. I heard this guy said it. He was talking about his wife. He was like, me and my wife, we probably don't spend the type of time that you and your wife spend together. But when we spend time, it's quality time. Because we don't have to worry about bills. We're not thinking about, oh, what's going to happen when I get back. We can go somewhere for 2 weeks and we good. We're not worrying about our bills when we come back. The bills already paid. Right. Our bills until next year is paid. So when we decide to spend time, these are memories that we can actually look forward to and hold in our brain as good memories. But we want all this time where we don't spend no time, but we wind up fighting, getting into arguments with all this extra time because of the fact is it wasn't meant. It wasn't some of the things that because of our privileged nature, that if we started making money and stuff like that, we wouldn't have the time. We wouldn't. And then when we did mess with our wife or wives, we would be excited about it because of the working gap. Because the building a kingdom is so fulfilling. It's more fulfilling than sex. Sex comes after that fulfillment. And you get hypersexual when you're not doing anything. Because of the fact is, you got more time. And you got more time to think about that you ain't where you want to be. But when you where you want to be, and you building things, you on to the next venture and on to the next caper and stuff. And sex is a part of that, but it's not your ever thought. That's why when you speak to people that are polygamous, they never bring up sex. A monogamous person always brings up sex to them. Oh, so how do y'all blah blah blah? Why? Because in monogamy, we think more about sex than polygamists think about sex.
So it is believed that monogamy benefits the man more so than polygamy. They said polygamy benefits the woman more. Do you agree with that? Yeah.
Yeah, polygamy benefits the woman more. They just don't know it, right? And to a degree, monogamy technically don't. All right, a woman's supposed to have support. She don't supposed to be just her. Nobody backing her up. Like you hear women in this society be like, I don't even hang with women. You know, women be tripping. I can't deal with those bees. You know, you hear women say that. But women was not, so if she's emotional, she has to have an emotional cushion. She has sister wives to protect her. Now, I'm not talking about no hanky-panky. I'm talking about she has sister wives to protect the girl. It's going to be okay, blah, blah, blah. She's emotional. That keeps her emotional bond. But one of those sister wives are going to be more logical. So all of them help each other. You know, you'll be around certain girls. One of y'all more logical. The other one is more emotional. Right. All that type of stuff. And y'all work it out together, especially if the goal is the kingdom.
Right.
If that's the goal. You ain't going to have a whole bunch of scallywag sister wives.
Right.
That ain't going to work. You know what I'm saying? Because the first wife going to dismiss her. You know, it's not going to, you ain't going to be able to be in that environment. Because y'all, that's why when your children get babysitted, they're not going to a babysitter. They're going to one of the wives, which is pretty much got the same mentality of you. Right. So the children are not going astray from your thought pattern. That's all this thing is maintaining thought pattern. So even if you had a monogamous relationship, let's say we have Sheldon and his wife in the midst of two polygamous couples, and they all in the kingdom. They all in the situation. Even though Florida might not be technically a sister wife, because she's in that environment, the sister wife still treat her as
it's the community.
As this, because you could have a man that had two wives and one of his wives died. You know, so it's not really the polygamy versus monogamy thing. And we decided we wouldn't even call it. We just calling it polygamy and monogamy right now for the sake of the discussion. Right. Mm-hmm. But because of the fact is we have failed at both, you know, we're going to think about more tribal. The mother tribe, the warrior tribe, the kingdom tribe, you know. Welcome to the kingdom. So that whatever you decide to do, whatever scale you decide to fall on, you know, that's where you decide to fall, you know. And these discussions are necessary. Absolutely. So that we can kind of like, let's rationalize with this situation. Right. You don't have to like it. You don't even got to want to do it. But you got to at least start making sense to yourself, because somebody that lied to you for years. And it's time to get rid of the lie. All lies. All lies. Because lies destroy the way your brain functions. It's not actually the sin. Sin will lead you closer to death. But it's the lie. Like, if you're doing something you don't supposed to do, it's not always the sin that takes you out mentally. It's telling yourself a lie. That this is right. That this is cool. You start to play with your own mind. Start making yourself psychologically not right. So I know there's a lot of information today. You know, we try to drop a lot of information because we was thinking about it. You know, it's something for us to think about. You know, something to stretch our brains a little bit. You know, we ain't hear too much from Uncle Sheldon. I know we had a mouthful today, Uncle Sheldon.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. Y'all talking science and all this stuff. Y'all talking ACBD before me. All this other stuff going on. I couldn't really comment too much on it.
I got a question you can comment on, though, Sheldon.
Common sense wise, like I can only deal with the here and now.
Okay.
I don't want that type of smoke.
Gotcha.
That's just me. Look at me saying, no. Because I can only see, you know. Say again?
I said we do got a question for you.
Yeah.
That I think you can answer quite well. When we was talking about people telling us stuff that ain't actually true, right? And we was talking about people lie but nature don't. What do you think about? Have you ever ran across any of those commercials telling you how you can handle fighting one of these animals?
Oh, one of them ran across a lot of them. And one of my favorite phrases from Django, a lot of lies been told at this table. About fighting lions and fighting bears. And I done heard y'all, and I heard that punch in a shark nose. First of all, let's common sense wise. Your punch ain't even as impactful underwater. Let's be real.
Yeah. True facts, yeah.
How a doggone shark in the water? You know what I'm saying? You ever try to fight somebody in the water? You gonna come up on top of that water. Somebody gonna get that ant whoop, but it's gonna be on top of that water. It ain't gonna be in the water. You know? No, there's this whole lot of stuff going on now. I can't go with that. I don't deal with them. Them animals, they do what they do. I do what I do. That's why I don't be going all in those jungles and all that other stuff. You know, I'll leave that lion kill stuff. I seen Kojo earlier. I leave the lion killing stuff to him. I ain't dealing with all that.
Right.
Man. I ain't got time for that.
And Kojo be like, he was like, the lions will leave you alone as long as you don't do nothing like this. He said, if you do this, the lion's gonna come after you. I was like, man.
I seen the previews of that new
man.
With the beast. I ain't dog. That's enough of that. No, dog.
Come on, dog.
I ain't a believer. I ain't a believer.
Yeah, man. I'm not a believer, right? Because JB I be watching these lion things on the on Facebook all the time, right? Okay. And then I watch them on YouTube. And I ain't seen us being able to deal with no lion, not no real lion, right? Because I seen this lady, they had shot one lion, and they didn't know the other lion was coming, and they was all laughing, oh yeah, we got this, and the other lion just said, rah! And I was like, yo, man. I mean, I have to watch, and this is no offense, you know, white people, I don't understand, but I watch y'all get ate up by animals all day long, and I mean, just don't understand.
If you stop and look over like in Saudi Arabia, they have like tigers.
They have them as pets.
Yes, pets. And they're like so friendly and tame and how, you know, so I mean.
Well, I mean, a man has power, right? Power enough to control these animals.
Well, not even that, too,
Coyote. It ain't gonna be me,
you gotta think back in the day. We was one with nature.
Yeah.
So these towns we talking about, what this India and Ghana and stuff like that, like, my bad, that's their home.
Yeah.
So like they know each other now. We couldn't do that.
Yeah.
Because we're so westernized and so disconnected. Yeah.
I stay in my lane. That's my doggone lane. Y'all go pet lions and tigers and start, swimming with sharks and riding whales and all that type of stuff. That's all you want to. I ain't doing that.
And them monkeys, man. Them monkeys be doing some
crazy. They take babies.
Oh, yeah.
They
sure do.
They
do, yeah.
I seen this monkey he just start poking on this big gorilla and then trying to hide. Then poking. I say, yo, y'all play too much. That's where they got monkey business from. But yeah, I was like, y'all really. It's like the more you watch these animals, you know they know what's going on. Because when I get home, I got this cat named Midnight, right? She walk down the walkway. When I get home, if it's too late, she be like, I'll be like, yo, this is ridiculous.
You get leaned on by a cat.
Yeah. Yo.
They don't pay the bills.
This is true. When we went to Cancun a couple of months ago, it was 7 monkeys that came on the resort. And we was all standing because I was amazed because they was snatching people eye sunglasses and necklaces and everything. And I'm like, oh my God, look. So one of our friends was taking a picture and he seriously right in front of the camera. He like this shaking his cell phone in the camera. I'm like, what?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, like you see me, hi, tongue hanging out and everything.
Just like a regular person.
Right. Yeah, because once again, they're around their people all day long.
Right. Yo, and you could clearly watch them, the monkeys, and tell that they doing stuff that we would do. Like, you could clearly watch, I'm watching these lions. I saw this lion, right? These animals tried to attack this lion until the other lion showed up, right? And it wasn't like no girl lion. It was like the lion, they was trying to attack this lion, and they had enough of them to attack this lion. I forgot what animals it was. And then another lion like him came, and the guy that was doing the announcement, he was like, well, even these animals can't handle 2 lions, right? So when the other lion came, and they was like, rah! Those other animals ran, right? When they ran, the lion did the same thing my cat do. When my cat see me, he bends his head over like that for me to like hit my head on his head as to say, hey, cool. Yeah. So the lions, they like rubbed each other's heads like, yeah, man, thanks a lot, because they was tripping, you know, like, and kept moving.
He was right on time.
It was a pack of hyenas that counted. That line. It was a pack of hyenas that counted.
Oh, yeah. So you see what I saw?
Yeah, it was like his brother came and got his back.
Yeah, I watched that. I was like, yo, and then they put their hands together like, yeah, thanks, man, and kept it moving. I was like, yo, that's me and Ramsey, yo. Be calling Sheldon on the phone. Hey, Sheldon, man, look, man, they almost got me, man. But it's like, man, it's like when you watch, you gotta watch nature, right? I went out in the woods the other day. I just stopped my car, went out in the woods, and I was like, yo, I did something that wouldn't sound stupid, right? But I hugged a tree, right?
That's not stupid.
And I know.
That's actually good.
And I was like, this tree has life, right? So I hugged the tree with the mentality that the tree had life. Mm-hmm. And I felt wonderful.
Yes, he felt at ease.
You know, I felt wonderful. Because when you start respecting life, you see, if you got somebody out here that hates life and that hates children, you got to do the opposite. You gotta love life.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And everything that has life, you gotta love it. You know, like, man, it got life, you know, because life is precious. You can't get back time, and you can't get back life.
That's so true. You're right. Absolutely.
Shoot. I don't keep all
I
life.
love life. I love my life.
That's
why
right.
I stay behind out them doggone woods. I ain't hugging no tree. No kick to the tree. The tree doing fine. It's standing up on its own. You know, it don't need my hug or nothing. It's gonna be all right.
That's right.
So you know, you do. You know.
Yeah. I'll hug the tree for you, Sheldon. I'll hug the tree for you, brother.
All right,
we do one card.
Make sure ain't no other things going on.
That's right. Oh no, I ain't doing nothing else with no trees. They too hardcore. Too hardcore.
Right. That's
hug the wrong tree.
Okay.
Y'all know that I gave the toast at Sheldon's wedding, right? It was so crazy. One day we'll play it on air.
Okay.
It was wild, and it was so crazy. It seemed like everybody knew me in the place because it was like when it was time for me to make the toast, everybody was like, "Oh my God!" They was like, "Oh my God!" And everybody was looking like, Y'all letting Coyote make his house. But all they had seen of us is the TV show and all that crazy stuff. So they just thought I was going to go up there and do something real crazy, which I did. But it was cool. But anyway, y'all, next week we're going to discuss some other stuff. We're going to look into some things. You know, it's not going to be on this. I'm going to let Ramsey take us out if he got any more information.
I want to do something off a card or something.
Okay.
Yeah, you got the. We won't do this thing.
Okay, yeah, because after we done talked about all that.
I know you can't. We can't use that.
We can't do that. Yeah, so all right, I gotta look at these. Jackie
Those are good.
Jackie might have slid one of the dildo cards.
No, we're gonna say this for the next time.
Okay, let me see.
Did we do that one before?
Yeah, we did this.
All right.
We already know what the answer that is.
Why you look at him?
Right. Now you gotta play it, right?
Right.
A man has a side piece, but claims he loves his wife with all his heart. Is this possible? Explain.
Man, good night. We see you next week. I'm not doing this with you, man. I'm not fooling with you. No.
You look at him.
That's really bad.
Man. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna go that whole shit.
That goes over the edge.
It's really there, though.
Yeah, you know,
it's really there.
That's what it is there, like that.
It's really there.
So
yo.
what? This is crazy how the universe.
Yo,
it is.
Yo, that's
it went
crazy.
with the topic. It went with the topic. Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it, and then we out of here.
We're gonna start over here.
Oh goodness.
Should we read the question again for you?
One more time.
Then we'll go to show.
Check it out. A man has a side piece, but claims he loves his wife with all his heart. Is this possible? Please explain.
Yeah, so he loves his wife with all his heart, but has a side, because that side piece could just be that little fun thing, that little getaway, you know, and then he comes back home, I'm guessing, you know, to say, this is my responsibility, this is my commitment right here. But what if she's, you know, she can't satisfy him or take care of him in a way that, you know, that he needs to be taken care of, you know. I've seen situations where as though, like, you know, the wife may be handicapped or something like that, but hey, he's there, still taking care of home, still taking care of her and stuff like that. And you know, if it works for that relationship and they can deal with it, then you know.
You just explained polygamy.
You did.
And
to the best. To the best.
To the best.
Yes.
Uncle Sheldon.
I'm going to say the play on words. Yeah, I would say that you can love a lot of people. You ain't in love with a lot of people, but you can love a lot of people. So technically, yeah, you know what I mean. Technically, yeah, you know you can, you know, you can. Now, I mean, a lot of people say that's bull jive, but I mean. Yeah, I mean, you ain't in love with your wife with all your heart. No, if to do that, no, you're not. You love your wife. You love your wife, and you love that, you know, that sweet thing doing little tricks, you know, on the chandelier. You love her too, you know. But you ain't in love. No, you're not. It's like, stop playing. You in love. You ain't got enough to give everybody else. You just don't have enough. She getting it all. I ain't got no energy. I'm married. I ain't got no energy.
He don't want to sleep on the couch tonight, so he can't.
I don't have room for like a lot. I don't have room for like a lot. Forget love. I don't have room for like a lot.
All right. So
it's just done.
So we gonna look at this before we even go this far into it. You know, we have to look at in love, out love, true love, right? Now, it's impossible for a man to be able to have more than one wife and not able to love them. That's impossible, right? It's impossible for him to be able to have these amount of wives and not able to be in love with them, right? It's impossible for him to be able to have these and not, because see, whatever God created to have, they can handle what they can have. But let's go further into these words. In love and out love is not real love, right? Why? Because when you in love, you can fall in and you can fall out. And anything you can fall in and out ain't real. So in love is technically high infatuation. So that means that your person is making you feel like this time, you feeling so good. So you just so in love with them. That same person could make you feel another way and you feel like, I'm falling out of love. That emotional phenomenon is not real because you can come in and you can come out. But true love, no matter what, I'm going to take care of you even though you just disrespected me. I'm going to love you even though your face is burned up in the fire. I'm going to love my children even though that scallywag didn't do her homework. That's true love. True love doesn't have this in and out phenomena. The in and out phenomena comes from high like. So let's say you have 2 wives and one wife just treats you wonderful and the other wife said, man, I ain't doing nothing for him. Then you're going to be more in love with this one than you are with that one because of the way that they treat you. Right. But let's say both of them are just wonderful. You're in love with both of them. But they just different. You know what I'm saying? You in love with them different ways. The only difference when you talk that in love stuff or that love stuff, even when you separate it from a physical relationship, right? I love Ramsey. I love Shelton, right? I love them to death in different ways.
Right.
Sheldon don't do what Ramsey do, and Ramsey don't do what Sheldon do. Sheldon got certain jokes Ramsey would never crack. And Ramsey got certain jokes Sheldon would never crack. But that don't stop me from
you love them different.
Loving them. I love them different.
Right.
I love Say Cool differently. Right? I love Jake differently. Right? They're not the same. Right? But I still love them. Now if Say Cool would just come in here one day and be like, yo, Coyote, you was so and so and so and so, I might fall out of
love.
Yeah, but I still love him. Because if I didn't love him, I could not fall out of it.
Love, yeah.
Right? That I couldn't, and I'm talking about scientific right now. I couldn't fall out of the situation if I didn't have this in the first place.
Right.
But we got taught that we only could love one person, and that doesn't, no. We're naturally, if a man is naturally made to have more than one wife, he is naturally made to love more than one woman. As a woman is naturally made to have one husband, she is naturally made to love one man a way that she can't love another. That is her. But the reason why she would say the same for a man is because she's judging the man by her nature. It's her nature that only is confined to this because that's how she was created. A bee wasn't created like an ant. A horse wasn't created like a cow. The queen bee is not created like the king bee. They function differently for different purposes and they have different abilities for different purposes. And I think that is where we're going to crack this puzzle.
So let me ask a question since we're on this card. And I like what Uncle Shelton said. So if you are in love with your woman, right, and you have a side piece, isn't there a part of you that has already disconnected from that relationship?
Well, now if we say in a sense of side piece, right? That side piece might be helping me maintain this relationship. Because this woman that I love, she might be a little mouthy. And she might not even listen to me when I'm trying to teach her. But this side piece allows me to teach her. right? But I still love her. I still maintain this woman. I still come home to her. I want her to be okay. But the side piece keeps me in that relationship because she fulfills the part of me that she doesn't fulfill. And it wasn't always naturally made for her to fulfill every part of me because she's one individual.
So are we not having a conversation about what you're missing that would draw you to a side piece?
Well, we having conversations, but some women don't want to hear those conversations. So we having conversations, but shoot, well, you ain't gonna change me. You know what I'm saying? Or they don't want to hear it at all. So you got some women that love knowledge, man. You could just drop it and they'll just be like, oh man, I love it. Right, and then you got some women don't want to hear that. They'll listen to you a little bit, but they don't really want to hear that. So the woman that you see, when you're kicking knowledge, say a man natural being is to teach, right? So if he's teaching, let's say he has a wife and he's supposed to teach her, but she is not receiving his message. He could teach his friend and be closer to his friend than he is to his own wife because it's the relationship, the spiritual relationship between him and God. But he's sharing this spiritual relationship with another man, or he's sharing this spiritual relationship with his child, or he's sharing this spiritual relationship with his girlfriend's buddy that does see the light in him. He might not be sleeping with her, but he's giving that husbandly information to her, and the exchange of it has a cause and effect, and it brings people together, right? So he has the ability to do this, right? Do that means that every man that has a side piece loves them the same? No, because this is a very imbalanced, a very messed up situation, you know. But when we say, can he? Right? Yeah, he can. Right? He has the ability. He was made to. You know, he was made to. The Quran says it like this: you can take on 4 wives as long as you can treat them all equally. So you was made to be able to do this, but people can't do everything they was made to do.
Absolutely.
They wasn't made to. They can't even do one because because you don't want to.
Right.
But see, if it's somebody that, back to value again. If your value, and every man and woman at this table know this, if you value something, you will do whatever it takes to maintain it or because it's what you value. It does it for you, you know? It might be a woman that comes along for even a man that, let's say this in the polygamy. But this woman might come along that she's the all in all. That's a rareness, but it happens. She comes along. She's the scientist, the porno flick, the nurturer. She all of it, and she on it. She knows how to talk. She listens. Superwoman. You know what I'm saying? He lose her, he's devastated. But in a society, they would want to reproduce her. Like in a real society, she would want somebody else just like her, because if something was to happen to her, she want her man to be okay. See, in a real society, they're not selfish. They want them to be taken care of after they go, because the man already knows that if you marry a woman that's 23 and he's 50 or 60, he already knows she gonna have another husband. So he already done set her up. She already got a diary and everything. He knows this man is coming. It ain't no bullcrap.
Right.
He might even know who the man is. He might have set that situation up. We just ain't function the way we function now.
Right.
You know,
that's true.
It's just a thought. I'm gonna let Ramsey take us out with any kind of way he can take us out, and then we're gonna go from there.
Nah, I think that's a good context to look at everything too. You know, I think if we look at it like family, like, you know what I'm saying, like even in that whole situation, you know, I think, you know, even when we talked about it, like, you know, one benefit more than the other, like everything is for the whole. You know, like I said, no matter what process we go at, monogamy or polygamy, at least that should be the implied, you know, response to it. Like, hey, this is the whole, you know, and I think that's the context. Like, I think, you know, we don't see sometimes outside of our own scope, right? And but at the same time, everybody, it's all connected. The success of one should be success of the whole, right? And vice versa, because that's how we all get a little bit further, and I think that's the main thing, as we talk about these things, just having the environment in the community, where these actions can be practiced, can be, because it's still a quality of character that needs to be developed.
Right.
That's right.
For anything to happen, and that goes in all relationships.
That's right.
Absolutely.
A certain code of conduct and things of that nature. And I think that's the main thing, is just sticking to, the purpose, the mission, all of the things that we talked about earlier, and when we started having these conversations, long as those things is at the forefront, I feel like
can't go wrong.
Right.
Can't go wrong. And in the end with this, it's all about following divine orders.
Right.
Solomon had 700 wives and 300 concubines, and he fell because he didn't follow God's orders. Adam had one wife, and he brought down civilization because he didn't follow God's orders.
Right.
So it just seems like whether you're monogamous or polygamous, if you don't follow God's orders, it's a problem.
It's a problem.
We can blame it on the women if we want, but it truthfully, men supposed to follow God's orders, and if you with a woman that won't follow you, she ain't yours. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. We had a good time to be with you.
It was a great time.
I'm glad to have my family back. She was wearing bright yelloel.
Okay.
So y'all know what time it is.
She had to wake y'all up.
Had to wake y'all up. Until the next time, we'll see y'all the same time, the same place. And next week, we got a message for a Cleft Road Doc.
Oh, okay.
CoyoteMan Show Relationship.